interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such friendship is like the interest men take in women, or bees in flowers. The gopis of Vrindavan have recognized Uddhava as the devoted servant of Lord Sri Krishna. His beautiful bodily features so much resembled those of Lord Sri Krishna. And Krishna personally, for the pleasure of the Brijvasis, gave his own clothes to be worn by Uddhava on this day. After speaking with Nanda and Jashoda and witnessing the exalted quality of their pure, spontaneous devotion, the gopis, with great humility and anticipation, they have brought Uddhava to a secluded place. And in their very simple, completely unsophisticated and natural love, they are beginning to speak. They are addressing Uddhava as the personal servant of Krishna. And Krishna has sent you to give pleasure to his parents. And we see nothing that he might consider worth remembering in these cow pastures of Braja. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break, even for a sage. The gopis are here expressing their feeling of hopelessness in separation from the Lord. There is simultaneously various spiritual emotions that are fighting one another within a devotee's heart. On one hand, the gopis are anticipating Krishna's arrival at any moment. And it is this expectation that preserves their life. But on the other hand, they feel a sense of utter hopelessness and desperation, that we see no reason for him to even return. That why should he even consider remembering us? He's now living in Mathura, such a big royal city with so many very high-class, sophisticated ladies and so much opulence. It is a great kingdom. Why would Krishna want to return to these simple cowherd pastures? And who are we compared to them? He says, they say even the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break, even for a sage. They are indicating how Krishna, how inconceivable is his nature. That after completely capturing the hearts of all the Brijvasis and showing the most intimate love to them, even exclaiming that your surrender and dedication to me is so great that I can never repay you. In fact, I am eternally indebted to you. So much of an exchange of love. But Krishna, he has detached himself. He has broken that bond of affection for his own friends and family members. And then they go on to explain that we are like flowers, and Krishna, like a bumblebee, has come and extracted the nectar of our love, of our devotion, and then he has simply moved on to the next flower. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his beautiful commentary, is explaining that the nectar that they are talking about is the very life force, the love, the hope, all the consciousness of the gopis Krishna has extracted. And then he has left them. But in leaving them, Uddhava is witnessing. He has appeared in their hearts in such a way that even the greatest of all yogis, sages, gurus, acharyas, mahatmas, no one has ever been so absorbed in the divine loving remembrance of Krishna, in the divine presence of Krishna, as the gopis. The nature of this love must be understood in its proper perspective. The gopis, each and every one of them, are completely liberated souls. They have already, by their example, proven total detachment from everything of this world. They had no concern for their family members, for their security of living in a nice, safe home, for all of their possessions and wealth. They were willing to risk their life, risk their reputation, risk everything to give pleasure to Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit asks Shukadeva Goswami that how is this possible for anyone? And Shukadeva Goswami explains that, you see, Krishna is the personality of Godhead. And because all of these emotions are directed toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it makes them all of the highest principle of morality, the highest principle of transcendental realization, knowledge, and detachment. If Krishna was not God, then all of these emotions would be degraded. But because Krishna is God, He is the supreme proprietor of everything that exists, and He is the supreme master and enjoyer of all living beings. Therefore, all of these sublime emotions of the gopis are of the most exalted, pure, and highest principles of spiritual realization as well as morality. The gopis themselves argued to defend their position. When they met him under the Bamsiva tree in Vrindavan Dham, Krishna said to the gopis, you have families and you have wealth and it's not safe for young girls to be alone in the middle of the forest at night. You should go home. It's not proper that you are here. And the gopis said, but you are, my Lord, you are the Paramatma. You are the life force of every living being. It is only due to your presence that there's any life or attraction within our family members or anyone. It is you that we love. In fact, whoever in this world loves anyone, they are actually loving you. But they are just not conscious of the reality. They are under the illusion that they are loving their child or their mother or their father or their lover or their friend. What do they love about that person? Only your presence in their heart. Whatever attraction anyone has is only a trace of your divine qualities that you are giving them. Whatever life they have is only the gift that is coming from you. And even the soul itself, the Jivatma, which is the attractive force within anyone's body, the only reason why that Jivatma has any attraction at all is because it is part and parcel of you. So therefore, no one in this world is really attracted to anything but Krishna. When we see a beautiful work of art, it is Krishna that has created the subject of the painting. It is Krishna that has created the painter. It is Krishna that has created all the paint. And it is Krishna who has created the inspiration to put it on the canvas. So what are we being attracted to? Simply Krishna. When we see a beautiful man or a beautiful woman, Krishna has created that form. Krishna has created the mind and the intelligence of that person. It is all Krishna's energy. The composition of a person's body is Krishna's energy, and the energy is not different than the energetic source. So these physical bodies are nothing but Krishna indirectly. And the soul is just a part of Krishna, reflecting the qualities of Krishna in an infinitesimal way. So what are we attracted to in this world? There's only one attracting power in this entire universe, and that is Krishna. And He is personally attracting us, either through His external energy or through His internal energy. When He attracts us through His Mahamaya potency, we do not recognize that He is the attractive force. We forget that. And under illusion, we think something else. We think that any beauty or any attraction is separate from Krishna. That is an illusion or Maya. But when we take to spiritual life and become purified through the path of bhakti, then we come under the influence of Yogamaya, and in that Yogamaya potency, we recognize Krishna everywhere. We see that everything is in Krishna, and Krishna is in everything, that He is the source. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explained that at a certain level of consciousness, your heart will give you the perception. Wherever you see, wherever you look, you will see the beautiful form of Shyam Sundar playing upon his flute. whatever you hear. You will hear the various notes of Krishna's flute. Your senses will become so much pervaded with loving devotion to Krishna that Krishna will reciprocate with you, and He will reveal Himself everywhere in His original form. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santasa daiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. And sometimes He may take away that vision, but then in our heart we're seeing Him everywhere, in and everything. We find here the gopis, although Krishna, in one sense, He left Vrindavan and cast them in the ocean of separation. But the gopis are seeing Krishna everywhere. 24 hours a day, they're witnessing Krishna in such a love that has never been experienced before by anyone. Even the residents of Vaikuntha have no access to such love, to such ecstasy. So we find that it is a fact that all love is really just an exchange between the soul and Krishna. But when we are not conscious that it is our soul who is loving the qualities of Krishna, then we come under illusion. We think we're this body, and we think we love someone else, but we don't recognize their connection to Krishna. And that is the source of ignorance, and that is the source of all bondage and suffering in this entire creation. Forgetfulness of the truth. And this is immorality. Why is it immorality? Because to think that anything is separate from Krishna, and to do anything for any purpose other than the pleasure of Krishna, is immorality in the highest spiritual sense. Because it is all Krishna's. Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhradam sarva bhutanam chatvamam shantim rikshati. Krishna says, I am the proprietor of everything, and everything is meant for my enjoyment. All sacrifices are meant only for me. If we do anything for our own personal sense gratification, that is, from the spiritual point of view, immoral. You are taking the property of God and trying to steal it for yourself. That is called self-centered sense gratification. But there is also extended sense gratification. To do things for my family, or for my caste, or for my society, or for my nation, or even for my species of life, humanity, is also considered immoral if you do not understand its connection to Krishna, because you are taking what belongs to God and you are using it according to your whims, according to your conceptions. If I go to the home of Ananda Vrindavan and steal 1,000 rupees, and then I send it to my mother and father and brothers in America, he says, that's immoral. Why you have stole? It's not immoral, because I used it for my family members. Would you consider that morality? If a thief comes and breaks in your house and steals all your jewelry and money and uses it to feed his family and get nice furniture for his family, would you call that morality? No, but human society is thinking we can steal for Krishna, and if we give it to our family, and if we give it to our nation, and if we give it to our society, then that's moral. But spiritually it's immoral, because it belongs to God. If we use it for our family, and we use it for our nation, and we use it for our society, in reference of the truth, that this is all God's property, and I'm using it to help these people in a service to God, according to the will of God, then it is the highest morality. So anything that is not done in relationship to Krishna is immorality. So the whole world of so-called moral people, they accuse the gopis of being immoral. They left their families, their children, their husbands, their everything for Krishna. This is immoral. But actually the whole world is immoral because they're not doing that. The gopis executed, factually, the highest, supreme, most perfect and pure morality because they were offering their lives to Krishna, cent per cent. Everything that belonged to Krishna, they were giving to Krishna. Their heart's love was Krishna's property exclusively. They passed the test. And Krishna sent them back to their families. It's not that the gopis were irresponsible. They took care of their children. They took care of their husbands, those that were married. They did all their duties very nicely, but in perfect morality, in truth, because they realized that it is Krishna within them that we love, and therefore we love them so much. It is Krishna in our friends and relatives that is the source of our love. And when we recognize that, there's real love. And when we do not recognize that, it is a perverted, mistaken love. One love ultimately culminates in ecstasy, in eternal unity, and the other ultimately ends in death. Living beings that are connected in Krishna consciousness are eternally united. And living beings that are united according to physical misconceptions, they are separated at the time of death. We do not know if there will ever be a connection again. It is simply a question of the unknown results of karma. Vasudeva, Krishna's father, explained, just like in a river, the river is constantly flowing. The river is constantly changing. And there's always new waves coming up in the river. And if two pieces of straw come into that river, the waves may bring them together, but how long will they remain together? Another wave will come and separate them. And will they ever join together again? No one knows. These are the relationships we have in this material world. But when we establish our relationships in loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, with Krishna in the center, then that relationship is founded on the basis of truth. And truth is eternal. Illusion is temporary. And anything that is based on truth is eternal. When we put Krishna in center of our family, the fact is our relationships with our family become eternal. Maybe not the physical proximity, but the spiritual relationship of two living beings connected to Krishna is eternal. With our God brothers and God sisters. When Krishna is genuinely in the center of our relationships, these relationships are eternal. Why? Because Krishna is eternal. And because every part of Krishna is eternal. And any progress we make toward loving Krishna and his devotees is eternal. So do not be bewildered by the ignorant talk of so-called mundane philosophers who mistaken the true, highest principles of truth and morality that is exhibited in the gopis of Vrindavan. Their love is pure because they have extracted the essence of the love that everyone is experiencing in this world in a perverted way. The fact is, everyone is loving Krishna, but in ignorance. The gopis have extracted the essence of love to directly be conscious of the beautiful source of all attraction, the form of Shamsundar. And therefore, in Krishna consciousness, this is our meditation, to always remember Krishna. The more we remember Krishna, the more we will naturally become attracted to Krishna. We find in the scriptures, even demons, when they remember Krishna unfavorably, they become purified. Shishupal attained liberation because he was always remembering Krishna in the mood of hatred and envy. And similarly, Kamsa, he also attained liberation because he was constantly remembering Krishna. Hiranyakashipu also attained such an exalted destination because he couldn't forget Lord Narayan. And Narada Muni presented his feelings, how exalted they were, that they could not forget Krishna for a moment. What to speak of those who remember Krishna favorably, in a spirit of devotion, humility, and service. It is for this reason that it is explained by Lord Kapila Dev in the Srimad Bhagavatam that of all the injunctions and all the rules and regulations in all the great scriptures of the world, two are of paramount importance. The conclusion, the siddhanta of all Vedic knowledge is contained in two simple instructions. And that is to always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna. How to always remember Krishna? That the great spiritual masters are teaching us. We cannot think that it is possible for us to imitate the gopis in their remembrance of Krishna. In fact, Srila Prabhupada said, you will not be purified, you will be putrefied if you try to do so. Because they were in the mood of such a high level of ecstatic conjugal love. As long as we still have attraction to sex pleasure of this world, to try to imitate the gopis is not only unbecoming, but it is contrary to our real spiritual progress. Therefore, we must remember Krishna in a wholesome way. Krishna is not different than his name. All the qualities and all the beauty and all the charm of Krishna that the gopis are experiencing are fully available to us through his name. And as we become purified, those sentiments of love begin to awaken within our heart. But in order to properly chant the holy name, we must be in the mood of a servant. The gopis, what was the quality of their service? The gopis are willing to go to hell for the rest of eternity to give Krishna relief from a headache, even if that relief only lasts a second. For 1 second of Krishna's pleasure, they're willing to suffer hell eternally. What a mood of service. Are any of us on that level? Of course not. but we can cultivate an attitude of service by following the instructions of the spiritual master very carefully, by serving the Lord's devotees with great care and attention, by serving the suffering humanity who are all part and parcel of Krishna, by giving them relief, by allowing them to understand the absolute truth. In this way, Krishna has given us such a wonderful method. By keeping our mind and senses in Krishna, through chanting His name, through the simple and sublime process of devotional service, by not allowing, by restraining the mind and senses from wandering to places that are not authorized, it becomes very practical for us to be on the path of always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. We have just sung this beautiful song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Here he is explaining, Krishna, you are the controller of everything. This whole world is working under your direction. Sometimes difficulties come into our lives. Sometimes even inconceivable predicaments come before us. Sometimes crises and problems that we could have never expected. Does a devotee lose his faith? Does a devotee become bewildered? Not at all. A devotee understands that Krishna is behind everything. And whatever Krishna does is for everyone's good. In the material sense, the laws of karma are for everyone's ultimate good. Mahatmanastu mam parata daivim prakriti mashata. But for devotees of the Lord, sincere devotees, of which all of our devotees are sincere devotees, anyone who comes to Krishna with sincere desire and connects to this immortal parampara, they are personally under Krishna's divine energy. Everything is being conducted directly by Krishna. There's no accidents. We may make mistakes, no doubt. We may make mistakes, but Krishna's right there to personally arrange for our purification. So in this way, everything is happening under Krishna's perfect loving control. And for a devotee who sees this, he is never disconnected from Krishna. He will always continue to make proper spiritual progress. So Narottam Das Thakur is explaining that Krishna, you are the controller of everything. You are behind the scene in every situation. A devotee is more concerned with who's behind the scene than the scene itself. Sometimes it's a wonderful, beautiful scene. Sometimes it's a very apparently terrible scene. These things are always changing in this world. We must deal with the scene according to the need. But our inner contemplation is that Krishna's orchestrating. He's behind it all. And whatever he does is for everyone's good, for everyone's purification. For the devotees of the Lord, everything Krishna does is ultimately to attract them back home, back to Godhead. Perfectly. And Narottam Das Thakur says that I have seen and considered this whole world, and Krishna, there is no one but you that can save me. It is this way that we learn to always remember Krishna. And by practicing the simple principles of Bhakti Yoga, we could gradually learn the art of always remembering Krishna and seeing His love and His mercy at every moment, in every stage of our life. And then we can gradually progress to the higher realms of consciousness, the realm of completely spontaneous love. For such advanced devotees, they naturally see Krishna behind everything. They naturally see Krishna's loving hand everywhere. But in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, we must constantly be reminded of this. That is why we require to constantly have the association of devotees. We must constantly be very, very strict in the regulation of our sadhana. We must chant 16 rounds every day. We must hear the Srimad Bhagavatam on a very regular basis. This will help us to always remember Krishna. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
The main aim of our spiritual life is to get a complete detachment from all worldly activities like our house, family members, wife, those who are materially oriented. And once we come into spiritual life, when we associate with devotees, we slowly get this conviction, I have to get a detachment from all these things, of my property, my flat, and this and that, everything. And once we attach to the renounced order people, we feel it, I'm getting detachment. I'm feeling it that I'm detached for some level. And then it so happens that in a gross level we feel it that we are detached. And slowly Krishna used to give something, and some problem comes in our life. And that problem, because of that thing, you become so engrossed in those problems, and you understand that, no, I was thinking that I was detached, but I'm not actually detached at all. These problems are unnecessarily disturbing me, my consciousness, my spiritual life is completely disturbed. That means grossly I was feeling it detached, but subtly I was much more attached. So unnecessarily means, as such, the Maya has completely defeated me. So how to see or test ourselves that detachment, subtle detachment, we test ourselves if that subtle detachment is there in our heart or not. And if it is there, how to take it out altogether.
Srila Rupa Goswami explains that real detachment is to use everything for Krishna's service. Detachment from your family and your flat doesn't mean to be irresponsible or to leave it. It means to recognize that it is Krishna's and to use it according to the will of Krishna. That is real detachment. Superficial detachment is to simply leave something. Real detachment is to use it for Krishna. But such detachment where we really and truly perceive everything as the property of Krishna can only come by the grace of Krishna. It is not something that comes by our own endeavor. If we are humble and sincere to follow the desire of Krishna, coming through the gurus and the sadhus, then by His grace we become detached. Ragadve shivamuktaishtu vishayanindriyaishchadan atma vishaya vidhyatma prasadam arigashtate. Krishna says that by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, one obtains the mercy of Krishna. And that mercy of Krishna is so great that we become detached from all attractions and aversions of this material world. So our position, Prabhu, is simply to try to please Krishna. And by His grace, everything else will come. We do not need to make any separate endeavor. Just try to please Krishna by following the instructions that the spiritual master and the great Vaishnavas are giving us. And gradually, by His grace, attachment to His loving service and detachment from our own anxieties will come about. But it is a very high and a very precious gift when Krishna gives such a state of consciousness. But He gives it. But He wants to make sure we are very sincere. And by putting us in such predicaments of problems and understanding how helplessly attached we are, He's giving us the opportunity, as you are today, to call out, Krishna, save me. Right now, your question is crying out for Krishna to save you. That is the fulfillment of the problems that Krishna has given you. He's brought you to a stage that, Krishna, I'm helpless. Please save me. Please, O Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, show me how I can have brought you to the proper platform by which you can receive Krishna's mercy. Are there any other questions?
Once we come into spiritual life, it so happens that whatever we are doing, we have been told that you can't think of Krishna 24 hours a day, as you have said in the class. So whatever you do in the service of Krishna. You chant whatever the rules and sadhana, daily sadhana has been told to you, you do it. Afterwards, you just serve whatever the instruction has been given by a spiritual master, you serve on that basis. And on that basis, you are doing a service to Krishna. So you just have to please spiritual master and you have to serve the devotees. That is the main aim and goal of our spiritual life. But we try our level best, to some level. We sincerely try to see to it that we serve the spiritual master in whatever he has given us the instruction. We chant, we associate with the devotees. Now, anything more, we can't do anything more than that, because we can't do anything more than this thing. So we have that type of a condition in our mind that this is the maximum I can do it. I have to serve my spiritual master, I have to serve the devotees, I have to do my daily sadhana properly. This is the maximum I can do. But after doing all these things, we have that thing in our mind that at least this all these things, lust, greed, envy, whatever is there in our heart, that means at least that will go off. But sometimes it so happens that some days it is very quite alright, and the very fine day, everything is going so scheduled of a sadhana, everything is going so nicely, and when one sudden day, the lust is coming up, or a greed is coming up, or envy is coming up, and we become so surprised that what I have done anything wrong. Everything, my sadhana is perfect, I am associating with the devotees, I am doing whatever has been told by my spiritual master, and why this thing is coming up in my heart? So how to see that this thing doesn't come up, because everything is disturbed altogether?
Before it goes out, it must come up. When you clean a room that has been collecting dust for so many years, before the dust goes out, it comes up. Correct? And when it comes up, it gets in our eyes and it gets in our nose and it disturbs us too much. So because you are performing your sadhana sincerely, all of this lust and envy and greed and pride is in the process of going out. But first it comes up. And when it comes up, it's very disturbing. Because we see it. We see our heart for what it is. All of these anarthas, unwanted qualities that are just stored up in our heart for so many lifetimes, just start coming right to the surface. Prabhupada said when you try to boil the butter to make it ghee, the impurities come to the top and it looks very dirty. But unless it comes to the top and it's visible to you, it is not to be removed. So, as we're making spiritual advancement by chanting Krishna's name, many of these unwanted qualities and desires that are dormant in our heart come to the surface. And if we just tolerate them and go on with our service, they are removed. If we give in to them, then they are put right back down, right back in our hearts. So just let them come. Just watch them. Just go on with your service. Don't watch them in the sense that to concentrate on them. Keep your mind on Krishna. Keep your mind on your devotional service. And just let them pass. Let them all come out. Don't be disturbed. At that time, when the cleansing process is taking place, that is when we really have to take shelter of Krishna's name, of Krishna's service, and of Krishna's devotees. Today is Mr. Dalal's birthday. I would like all the devotees, or tomorrow, but he's here today. I would like all the devotees to offer their blessings upon him. He's been such a wonderful help to our mission for several years. And he has such a nice service disposition. And he's brought two beautiful children into this world, Dwarkadish and Sri Dama. And anyone who can be instrumental in producing Dwarkadish and Sri Dama must be very dear to Krishna. And good fruits come from good trees. He is a very, very gentle and very respectable person, and we are very thankful to Krishna that he has sent you to share your association with all of us, especially on this day. So wonderful. On your birthday to come to offer your life to Radha Gopinath and to associate with their devotees. Happy birthday. Haribo. Thank you very much. Tonight we have come together to celebrate the beautiful pastime that takes place on this Sharat Purnima. The pleasurable pastime of Lord Krishna, where in the groves of Vrindavan he performs the glorious Rats Leela. I would like to read a particular sloka in this regard from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavibhyariditam kalmasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvigrinanti He Bhuridachannaha. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. This sloka is from the 31st chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here the gopis are singing the songs of their separation from Lord Krishna. It is described by Srila Shukadeva Goswami that on this most glorious and beautiful of all nights of the year, Krishna was very much desiring to enjoy and give enjoyment in the association of his most blessed associates, the gopis of Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada explains that of all seasons, the autumn season is considered to be the most beautiful. And of all nights, of all auspicious occasions of the autumn season, the rising of the Sharat Purnima is considered the topmost beautiful offering of material nature. So upon seeing the beautiful moon rising over the horizon, beautiful reddish color, filling the sky with volumes and volumes of illumination, Lord Sri Krishna stood under the Bamsiva tree and played upon his flute. It is the flute of Sri Krishna that is the supreme most powerful force to attract the hearts of Krishna's devotees. Here in Bombay, and what to speak of the rest of this material world, people are very anxious to show their power, to show their strength, how they can subjugate others. People are setting off big bombs. People are building gigantic nuclear bombs, creating gigantic armies just to show their power. But what is this physical material power? At the most, it has the power to destroy and create misery and pain to some tiny little portion of this one planet. But what is the supreme power? When Krishna plays upon his flute, he conquers the mind. He conquers the senses. The most formidable, unconquerable enemies of the world. When the United States dropped their bomb over Hiroshima, they could kill some bodies. But those men, with their bombs, they could not conquer anyone's mind or senses. In fact, it is the mind and senses that are the most dangerous, vicious, terrible, pain-giving enemies in all creation. Krishna's beautiful flute, which is filled with such sweetness, it conquers our mind and senses. In fact, it can conquer the entire creation, not with destruction and pain, but it conquers us with love and with bliss. This is Krishna's supreme weapon. His Sudarshan Chakra, when he appears in his Vasudeva feature in Dwarka or in Mathura, that chakra can conquer demons by killing their bodies. But his flute conquers the heart. And how does it conquer the heart of those fortunate souls who are simply willing to respond to his song? As Krishna played his celebrated flute, the vibration completely filled the entire atmosphere. Krishna desired that his own spiritual potency awaken the love of all of his devotees. And the gopis of Vrindavan, many of them who were formerly married, they were at homes on this night performing their ordinary activities. But when they heard Krishna's flute, they became mad. Mad simply to serve Krishna and to give pleasure to Krishna. We must know that the gopis cared nothing for their own pleasure or for their own sense enjoyment. They were going to Krishna to give him pleasure, to give him satisfaction. How? With their body, their mind, their words, their very lives. Some of them were milking cows. They left the cow with the bucket under him or her. Some of them were cooking milk on the stove for their family members without even bothering to take the time to remove the pot from the stove. They came running to the forest to meet with Krishna. Some of them were putting the kajal in their eyes, and just in the process they left. Some were getting dressed, and in such a hurry they were putting the top half of their clothing on the bottom half of their body and the bottom half on the top half. Some were feeding their families, their husbands, their in-laws. They just left. Some were taking care of the small calves. Whatever they were doing, they understood that their first business in life was to please Krishna. This is why they are considered the topmost of all spiritual beings. Because first and foremost consideration was pleasing Krishna. If Krishna is not pleased, whatever activities we are performing are a failure. Sansadir Haritoshanam. And if Krishna is pleased, whatever responsibility we may be performing is perfectly a success. Those who understand truth evaluate only on this basis. Not how much money we're making. Not how much people of this world are happy with us and pleased with us. But is Krishna pleased? Krishna is the root, the cause of all causes. Devarshi bhutapti nidam pitranam nakinkari nayam ranicharajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundham bhariritya karatam. If you please Krishna, you have no longer any responsibility to the demigods, to the forefathers, to family members, to the great sages and saints, to all of the great kings. Because by pleasing Krishna, it is like watering the root of the tree automatically. All of your responsibilities are fully satisfied. And there's only one way to satisfy Krishna, by surrendering to His will. And that is why Krishna says in Gita, Sarva dharman purityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami masujaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I shall protect you from all sinful reactions. There is nothing to fear. Here in India, many people are very fond of playing Ras Leela with sticks, or talking about the Ras Leela, or seeing beautiful pictures of Ras Leela, or chanting sweet, melodious, poetic songs about the Ras Leela. But the question is, who can understand the dignity of the supermost heights of realization which this Ras Leela represents? First, understand the quality and the nature of the devotees, called the gopis, and how they surrender to Krishna utterly. Then only can you understand even a drop of the ocean of the glories of the Ras Leela. Some of the gopis, they ran into the forest to meet with Krishna. Very difficult surrender. They did not know that anyone else was going. Each one was independently alone. In the night, in the dark jungle, there are scorpions, there are snakes, there are dacoits, robbers, thieves, dangerous animals, tigers, lions. They were willing to risk their lives to satisfy Krishna. And more difficult than that is they knew that if they left home, they may never be allowed to return. Because their family members told them, you cannot go. They were strictly forbidden to leave the house that night. All the security of living at home for a young girl was being forsaken. Where would they live for the rest of their lives? They did not know, but they knew one thing, that for Krishna's pleasure, we are willing to renounce everything else. And one's prestige in society, especially amongst loved ones, is something that is extremely dear to a person's heart. For a young woman, her chastity is her life. You know the story of Draupadi, how she tried to keep her sari upon her body when Dushasana was taking it off, and how she was crying out to Krishna, please save my chastity. For a woman of civilized culture to lose her chastity is more painful than death. In fact, a woman will choose death in a moment before giving up her chastity. We see the quality of Sita. We see the quality of Draupadi. How she cried out with such helpless devotion, praying, Krishna, save me. And Krishna appeared as her sari to cover her body and save her chastity. We consider the surrender of Draupadi complete. But we consider the gopis millions of times more complete. Because although chastity was also more dear to them than their very lives, they were as virtuous as Draupadi in that sense. But they were willing to give it up in a second for Krishna. Some of the gopis, their husbands with sticks forbid them to go. Literally, physically made it impossible for them. And they were burning so much in the pangs of separation, completely immersed in meditating upon Lord Sri Krishna, that they gave up their material bodies. What does that mean? That does not mean they died. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that there are different levels of gopis in Vrindavan. Some of them were Nitya Siddhas, who were the eternally transcendental maidservants of Krishna from the spiritual world who descended to assist in his loving pastimes. Some of them were completely perfected souls who had completely purified their love of God in this life or in previous lives. And they were being prepared for the spiritual world by taking birth as gopis in Vrindavan, sadhan siddhas, nitya siddhas. And we also read in the Bhakti Dhira Damodara Sindhu and in the Puranas about the Munichari gopis. They were living in the forest of Dandakaranya. And when Lord Sri Ramchandra was there, they were actually devotees of Krishna Gopal. And when they saw Ram, he awakened such intense love in their hearts that upon seeing Ram, they simply wanted to enjoy the love of being the consorts of Lord Krishna. They knew that they could not do it with Ram. He only accepts one wife, Sita. But Krishna allows this same intimate, ecstatic, conjugal relationship with any devotee who so purely desires. So they did not speak. They were simply praying in their hearts to Ram to give them this chance. And Ram gave them the benediction that when I appear as Krishna, you will be gopis in Vrindavan. So many of them, although pure devotees, they were still not of the highest state of purification. They still had some tinge of material conception in their life. Therefore, they were not allowed to enter into the Ras Leela. But by remaining home, completely burning in the fire of separation from being with Krishna that night, that fire of separation burned to ashes whatever little tinge of material conceptions were in their heart, and they became perfected. Those gopis who escaped, renouncing everything, they approached Krishna. standing under the Bamsiva tree in the forest of Vrindavan. And how anxious they were to see him, to serve him. And Krishna, just to increase the intensity of their devotion, he told them that it is no place for nice young girls like you to be here in the forest. It is very dangerous. And what will people say about you? Better that you all go home. And the gopis began to cry, with their toes looking at the ground. They were drawing curved lines in the dust of Vrindavan. And they began to speak. My dear Lord, you say we should go home, but to be with you is to go back home, back to Godhead, our supreme home. You are the supreme home for all living beings. Your lotus feet are the resting place for all living entities in all creation. You say that we should serve our husbands. That's what we have come here for, because you are the eternal husband of all living entities. Under illusion, we may have temporary relationships, such as fathers, husbands, children, and so forth. But for the soul, you are the eternal enjoyer of everyone. You are the eternal husband of every living being. So everything that you are saying, we are fulfilling by coming to serve you. And you are the life force in everyone's heart. If you leave anyone's heart, all that is left is a dead corpse. Who is it that we love? Who is it that we serve in this world? It is only you. The Jivatma that is giving glory to any life is part and parcel of you, my Lord. Therefore, we have come to love you, to serve you, to give you pleasure. Krishna, upon hearing their beautiful words of transcendental realization, he allowed them to take part in this beautiful pastime of spiritual love. We must know that Shukadeva Goswami, he is narrating the Ras Lila, and he is considering that this Ras Lila is the supreme-most expression of religious experience. It is the highest platform of love. Now, Shukadeva Goswami himself, he would not have anything to do with any mundane romance. He was a completely transcendental person. He had attained Brahman realization within the womb of his mother. He was a perfect celibate, a perfect brahmachari. In fact, when his father, Vedavyas, wanted him to come out of the womb, he begged him, come out, come out. Shukadeva Goswami, nothing doing. This material world is full of illusion. I want nothing to do with it. And ultimately, Vyasadeva had to go to Dwarka to get Krishna in order to attract Shukadeva Goswami to come out of the womb. And when he began to praise the beautiful glories of Krishna, Shukadeva Goswami came out simply to taste the sweetness of pure bhakti. And the greatest renunciates, the greatest sages in the entire universe were assembled in the bank of the Ganges that day that Maharaj Parikshit made the vow to fast till death. and only hear the pure glories of the Supreme Lord. And all these great sages, Vedavyas, Narada, Vishishta, Vishwamitra, Atri Muni, Agastya Muni, Angira Muni, they all unanimously elected Shukadeva Goswami to speak. Why? Because he was considered the purest, the most highly realized of all. When Shukadeva Goswami glorifies the Ras Leela, we can understand that this beautiful Ras Leela has no tinge of material romance. Material lust is a perverted reflection of the original divine love of the spiritual world, which is expressed between Krishna and the gopis. Maharaj Parikshit, as Shukadeva Goswami was narrating this beautiful pastime, he saw that certain members of this assembly on the bank of the Ganges, they could not understand. How is it that these young girls were leaving everything to meet another man in the middle of the night? Maharaj Parikshit inquired that the gopis did not even know that Krishna was God. So what is the difference between this and the ordinary love affairs of this world? And Shukadeva Goswami, with great pleasure, answered this question. He said that the gopis had already attained previously the highest stages of liberation. They had no tinge of material desire. Under the Yogamaya potency, the spiritual energy of the Lord, this love was awakened in their hearts. And it was a love of complete giving of themselves. Material lust is exploitation. I want to be the enjoyer. But spiritual love is to give yourself utterly, to be enjoyed by Krishna. Material lust is always frustrated. Whoever we try to find to have a romantic relationship with, it will be frustrated. But that desire for romance, which is within the heart of everyone, originates in the very soul, desiring that pure, unmotivated, romantic relationship with Krishna. The relationship of complete giving, complete sacrifice, complete surrender of oneself for the pleasure of the Lord. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the inexhaustible, the inconceivable, and the infallible, any way you think of him, you attain the greatest benefits. Shukadeva Goswami explains that Shishupal, he hated Krishna. He was envious of Krishna. But because he was always remembering Krishna in the intensity of that envy, he attained liberation. He merged into the body of Lord Hari. When Krishna is the object of our desire, be it negative or positive, we become completely purified. The gopis, they simply wanted to give pleasure to Krishna. And Krishna staged this wonderful pastime when he was only 8 years old. So for those unscrupulous speculators who want to assume that this Ras Leela has anything to do with material life, a child 8 years old cannot enjoy romantic affairs. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. who is Rasaraj, who is the supreme king of all loving exchanges. And it is only because Krishna takes pleasure in enjoying these love affairs that we, as his parts and parcels, have the capacity to also long for love affairs. When we direct it toward Krishna, it is perfect. When we direct it toward any object of this mortal world, it is simply the cause of bondage and suffering, ultimately. Then Shukadev Goswami began to continue that as Krishna was so lovingly dancing with his eternal associates, the gopis, on this moonlit night in Vrindavan, each gopi was thinking that Krishna is only with me. Some commentators explain that as Krishna was dancing, he appeared to be in and between every gopi. And some say that he expanded himself between every gopi. But other great acharyas explain that he was just dancing so transcendently fast that actually every gopi thought he's only with me. This is his transcendental Yogamaya potency. That they were not dancing with expansions of Krishna, but each one was with the original Krishna. So the gopis started to become proud. That of everyone in Vrindavan, Krishna's only dancing with me. But they were not proud of themselves. They were proud of Krishna. They were not thinking, because of my greatness, Krishna has chosen only me. They were thinking, because Krishna is so inconceivably, wonderfully, and unlimitedly merciful, he's chosen me. They didn't know that every other gopi was thinking the same thing. So they were proud of Krishna. But Krishna wanted to intensify their love for him by breaking that pride. And all of a sudden, he disappeared. Now, from the point of view of an aspiring devotee, we can know that however advanced we might be, if we become proud, even of our own spiritual advancement, then Krishna will leave us. And when Krishna leaves us, what is going to protect us from Maya? Daivi heshu gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamevam vipapadyante mayam etatarantite. Krishna says this material nature is very difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders to me can easily cross beyond it. Mahatmanastu mam bharata daivim prakriti mashyata. The great souls, they are under the divine protection of Krishna. But as soon as we become proud, Krishna leaves us. And when we're not protected by Krishna, however great, however powerful, however advanced we may be, even the slightest influences of Maya can bewilder our mind and put us in illusion. So we should know that however advanced we become in Krishna consciousness, the test of our advancement is not how advanced we think we are, but how humble we begin to understand we are before God. The gopis were the supreme perfection of renunciation. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed there is no renunciates like the gopis. And every sannyasi should aspire to follow in the footsteps of the gopis in their total renunciation. And Mahaprabhu explained how one in the renounced order has to seek such renunciation. Amanina manedena kirtaniya sadahari. We must give all honor to others and expect none in return. The humble heart is the heart that Krishna will always manifest himself through. Pride is the supreme greatest enemy for any devotee. It is a demon. So Krishna wanted to show that whoever you are, if you become proud, even one of his eternal associates, if you become proud, he leaves you. But this is a lesser understanding of this wonderful pastime. Because for the gopis, there was no question of material pride. Their pride was absolutely pure and transcendental. Krishna left them only to increase the ecstasy of their love. Even in this material world, it is said, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So Krishna wanted to encourage higher realms of ecstasy for the gopis, so he left them. And when he left, they became mad. So we have given up everything for Krishna, and where he's left us. They began to weep and cry. They began to call out at the top of their lungs the glories of Krishna and the names of Krishna. And they began to travel through the forests of Vrindavan. And as they were traveling looking for Krishna, they were so immersed in the thought of Krishna that their entire bodies and minds became one with Krishna's leelas. They were thinking of Krishna so much that all of them began to act just like Krishna. night of the Ras Leela. In order to please the gopis, in order to allow the gopis to be pleased by pleasing Krishna. How does Krishna please the gopis? By giving them a chance to please him, because that's the only thing that pleases them. He extended this one night to last for an entire night of Lord Brahma. There's many millions upon millions of years. That is the power. And of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto is the highest revelation of truth within the Bhagavat. And the 5 chapters of the Ras Leela
তুমি দদি মোচা খন্দা
Mudabora mas boda rotika gritana
Muka bora masha bora ratika vitana
Chaskuli pistaka kir puli payasanna
Saskuli vishtaka kir puli payasana
Kapura amrita keli ramba kirashara
Kapura amrita keli ramba kirashara
Amrita rasalama dwadasha pakora
Amrita rasalayama dwadasha prakara
Luchi sini sarpuri ladu rasabali
Ruchi chini sarapuri ladu rasabali
Bhojana kore na Krishna hoye kutuhali
Bhojana kore na Krishna hoye kutahali
Radhikara pakayana bibida byanjana
Radhikara pakayana vividha vyanjana
Paramayanande Krishna kore na bhojana
Paramayanande Krishna kore na bhojana
Chale bale ladu khai Srimadu Mangala
Chale bale ladu khai Srimadu Mangala
Bagala bajayara deya hari bolo
Bagala bajayara deya hari bolo
Radhikari gani heri nayane rakone
Radhika gane heri nayane rakhone
Tripta hoye khai Krishna Jasoda Bhavane
Hoye khai Krishna Jasoda Bhavane
Bhojanande piye Krishna Subhasita Bari
Bhojanande piye Krishna Subhasita Bari
Sabe mukha prakaloy Hare Sari Sari
Sabe mukha prakaloy Hoye sari sari
Astamukha prakaliya Jata sakagane
Astamukha prakaliya Jata sakagane
Anande vishrama kore Baladeva sane
Anande vishrama kore Baladeva sane
Jambula rasalane Tambula masala
Tambula rasalayane Tambula masala
Tahake Krishna Chandra Sukhe nidagela
Hare Krishna Chandra Sukhe nidra gela
Vishalaka Shiki Pucha Chamara Dulaya
Salakha Shiki Pucha Chamara Dhulaya
Apurva Sayaya Krishna Sukhe nirayaya
Apurva Sayaya Krishna Sukhe nidra jaya
Yasomati Anga Priye Danishtaya Nito
Yasomati Agya Paye Daishtanito
Sri Krishna Prasad Radha Gunje Hoye Prito
Shri Krishna Prasad Radha Munde Hoya Prito
Lalitari Saki Gana Avashesha Paya
Varitadi Shaki Gana Abhashesha Paya
Mane Mane Sukhe Radha Krishna Guna Gaya
Mane Mane Sukhe Radha Krishna Guna Gaya
Hari Lila Ekamatra Jahara Pramoda
Hari Leela Yake Matra Jaya Pramoda
Bhogarati Gai Thakur Bhakati Vinoda
Bhogarati Gai Thakur Bhakti Vinoda
Bhajaba Katavatsala Sri Gaura Hari
Bhajapa Katavatsala Sri Gaura Hari
Bhajaba Katavatsala Sri Gaura Hari
Bhajapa Katavatsala Sri Gaura Hari
Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Gosta Bihari
Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Gosa Bihari
Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Gosta Bihari
Gaura Hari Sahi Gosa Bihari
Nanda Jasomati Chita Hari
Nanda Jasomati Sita Hari
Nanda Jasomati Chita Hari
Nanda Jasomati Sita Hari
Bhaja Govinda
जय प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चतुकूलचौरम् अनेक जन्मार्जित पापचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरं नवाम्बुदश्यामलकान्तिचौरम् पदाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरं चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि अकिञ्चनीकृत्य पदाश्रितं यः करोति भिक्षुं पथिगेहहीनम् केनाप्यहोभीषणचौर ईदृग् दृष्टः श्रुतो वा न जगत्त्रयेऽपि यदीयनामापि हरत्यशेषं गिरिप्रसारान् अपि पापराशीन् आश्चर्यरूपो ननु चौर ईदृग् दृष्टः श्रुतो वा न मया कदापि धनं च मानं च तथेन्द्रियाणि प्राणांश्च हृत्वा मम सर्वमेव पलायसे कुत्र धृतोऽद्य चौर त्वं भक्तिदाम्नासि मया निरुद्धः छिनत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धं भिनत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धम् छिनत्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्ति
तकृतं तु बन्धम् मन्मानसे तामसराशिघोरे कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्धः नभस्वहे चौर हरे चिराय स्वचौर्यदोषोचितमेव दण्डम् कारागृहे वस सदा हृदये मतीये मद्भक्ति पाश दृढ़ बंधन निश्चलः सन् त्वां कृष्ण हे प्रलय कोटि शतान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्व चौर हृदयान्न हि मोचयामि व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीतचौरं गोपाङ्गनानां च दुकूलचौरम् अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चौराग्रगण्य पुरुषाष्टकम की जय।